Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something a bit different, maybe even unique.
Yeah.
We've got this incredible stack of sources, research notes, all looking into something called Kenny subpersonalities.
Okay.
Basically, it's exploring how different animals are used to symbolize or embody these complex human traits and ideas, all under this Kenny label.
Interesting.
So our mission is to really unpack this, pull out the most important bits from all this material.
Right. And what's really fascinating here, looking through this stuff, is how deep these sources go. They're digging into the meanings behind three very different animals.
Which ones?
We've got the turkey, the elephant, and the sparrow. And we'll be looking at, the science behind them, their cultural history, which is surprisingly rich, and even their psychological impact.
All connected back to this Kenny idea.
Exactly. All through that lens.
Yeah.
Think of it like a shortcut, maybe, to understanding just how tangled up our symbolic world is with the actual natural world.
Absolutely. Okay, so where should we start?
How about we kick things off with an animal that might surprise you in terms of its depth and, well, its link to a certain kind of resilient part of Kenny,
All right, I'm intrigued. Which one?
the turkey.
The turkey. Okay, let's dive right into the turkey then. Biologically speaking, what are we looking at? I mean, it's a bird, obviously.
Right, a large ground-dwelling bird related to pheasants. And there are actually two distinct wild species out there, which people might not realize.
Huh. And physically, they seem quite big.
Oh, they are. Substantial birds.
Mhm.
The males, the toms, can easily be 5 to 7 kilos, stand over a meter tall. Hens, the females, are smaller.
And the males have that whole display thing, right?
Definitely. They're pretty striking. Iridescent feathers, the big fan-shaped tail, and those weird fleshy bits on their head and neck,
Hmm.
the snood and wattles.
Snood, right. And what do they eat? Just seeds.
No, they're omnivores, really.
Yeah.
Ground foragers. They eat acorns, seeds, berries, insects, even small amphibians or reptiles if they find them.
Wow. Okay. And where do they typically live?
You usually find them in mixed forests, clearings, sort of the edges of farmland, that kind of habitat.
Makes sense. And their behavioral. I know they gobble.
They do. They live in social flocks. And yeah, the males are famous for that group courtship display. Lots of strutting, gobbling, drumming sounds.
Sounds like quite the show.
It is, and it's a polygynous system. So one male often mates with several females. The hens nest right on the ground.
On the ground. How many eggs?
Usually lay about 10 to 14 eggs in a clutch. And they incubate those for roughly 28 days. Evolutionarily speaking, they're North American originals, popped up about 20 million years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, share ancestry with pheasants and grouse. We've got fossil evidence going way back, Miocene, Pliocene eras.
Okay. And conservation-wise, are they doing okay? I feel like I see them around sometimes.
Actually, yes. That's some genuinely good news. The wild turkey, Meleagris galapavo, is listed as least concern globally right now.
That's great.
It really is. It's a massive comeback story. Back in the 1930s, their numbers in the U.S. had plummeted, down to maybe 30,000 birds.
Only 30,000.
Yeah. But thanks to some really successful reintroduction programs, careful management, we're now looking at around 7 million wild turkeys today.
7 million! That's incredible. Talk about resilience.
Exactly. It's a huge testament to that.
You know, it's that resilience, that unexpected depth that maybe makes the turkey such a fascinating mirror for one of these Kenny subpersonalities we're talking about. But the story, as you said, it gets really interesting when you look at the cultural side.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, go back to the Maya, like 300 BCE. They actually venerated turkeys, saw them as divine vessels.
Divine, hardly.
Yeah. And the Aztecs had a turkey deity, Chalchitotlan. Then you look at Native American tales from the Cherokee, Seminole, Hopi. The turkey wasn't just food. It was sometimes a trickster figure, sometimes the bearer of sacred feathers, even a kind of cultural mediator.
That's quite a range, isn't it? From
Yeah.
trickster to godlike figure. What do you think makes the turkey hold that kind of diverse symbolism?
Well, I think it speaks to their multifaceted nature, right? In Mesoamerica, they stood for abundance, fertility, status, spiritual power. Their feathers alone were hugely important, ritually and economically.
So both practical and sacred.
Exactly. That duality keeps popping up. They were used in ceremonies, costumes, deity representation, but also for feathers, bones for tools, eggs, meat.
And there are specific stories too, right? Like Hopi dances.
Yeah, the Hopi mixed dances, Cherokee stories involving them,
Yeah.
they're woven right into traditional narratives. And historically, humans started domesticating them pretty early, around 2,000 years ago in Mesoamerica.
And separately in the U.S. Southwest too.
Yeah, seems like an independent domestication happened there by about 200 BCE.
And then they went global. essentially.
Well, to Europe. The Spanish took them back in the 16th century. They quickly became a staple meat source over there. Plus, feathers and eggs, of course.
So economically important pretty fast.
Definitely. And beyond just food, their feathers were apparently used in some farming tools. And more recently, they've been key to habitat restoration. Those reintroductions we mentioned, bringing them back from those low numbers.
You can actually see them in old art and texts, too.
Oh, yeah. Aztec manuscripts, Mayan carvings, colonial records. Even Shakespeare mentions turkeys. The name pops up in texts like Twelfth Night.
Wow. So this bird with such deep historical roots ends up being the star of Thanksgiving memes today. It's quite the journey.
It really is. From sacred symbol to, well, internet satire. Meleagris has seen it all.
But in pop culture, it's more the idea of the turkey, right? Not like a specific famous one.
Exactly. It's the collective Thanksgiving turkey, more than any individual celebrity bird.
Yeah.
You see mascots, like Butterball's logo.
Right, or in kids' stories, holiday specials, that sort of thing.
Yeah, all that seasonal media. But
right.
Like you said, there's no turkey Swift taking over TikTok.
Yeah.
Internet culture tends to poke fun at the holiday turkey image. You get things like the Thanksgiving turkey trot races every year.
Yeah.
But yeah, no single viral star.
Okay, so pulling all these threads together, the biology, the history, the culture, the memes, what does this multifaceted symbolism tell us about that Kenny archetype? How do we connect with them psychologically?
Well, the feelings are mixed, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's that festive comfort around the holiday bird, maybe some awe when you see them wild, but usually not fear.
And symbolically.
It can represent things like gluttony or harvest abundance, often set against nobler birds like eagles. And in dreams, dream interpretations often link turkeys to abundance, celebration, community, or maybe overindulgence.
Huh. And we even have sayings, right? Like going cold turkey.
Exactly. Cold turkey for sudden withdrawal. Or sometimes people say turkey out, kind of humorously, for overeating.
So connecting it back to Kenny, if a Kenny subpersonality represents this incredible ability to bounce back, maybe a surprising revival after being knocked down, then the turkey's own story, nearly wiped out, now thriving seems like a perfect fit, doesn't it? It's the Kenny that just refuses to stay down, always finds a way back, sometimes showing up in unexpected ways, from being revered to being dinner.
That's a great way to put it. And globally, remember, there's diversity within turkeys, too. 6 recognized subspecies, different sizes, different habitats.
And they are originally North American, right?
Ooh.
Only got elsewhere after Columbus.
Correct. Indigenous to North America.
Yeah.
Introduced elsewhere later, related to pheasants, grouse, guinea fowl.
And different cultures see them differently even now.
Oh, absolutely. North America. Holiday icon. Europe. More like exotic game.
Yeah.
Mesoamerica. Historically, a really powerful cultural and sacred symbol. Big difference.
Okay, so from the resilient turkey, where do we go next for another facet of Kenny?
Let's shift gears to an animal with just immense symbolic weight, power, wisdom, memory. Also linked to Kenny.
Sounds like the elephant.
You got it.
Wait.
The magnificent elephant.
Okay, let's get into the elephant. Scientifically, what family are we talking about?
They're in the family Elephantidae. And that basically covers 2 living genera. Loxodonta, that's your African savanna, and forest elephants, and Elephas, the Asian elephant.
And physically, I mean, they're just huge. Largest land animal, right?
By far. Males can be up to 13 feet tall at the shoulder, way over 12,000 pounds. Usually gray, but yet they can look brownish or reddish from mud and dust baths. And they live a long time. 60, 70 years in the wild is possible.
Their adaptations are incredible, too. The trunk, obviously.
Oh, the trunk is amazing. It's their nose and upper lip fused together. Used for breathing, grabbing things, communicating, drinking. Incredibly versatile.
And the tusks.
Those are elongated incisor teeth, used for defense, digging for water or roots, stripping bark off trees, and those huge ears, especially on African elephants. Not just for show, they radiate heat to cool down.
Thermoregulation, right. And their skin, it looks so thick.
It is thick, but it's also super sensitive. They have amazing hearing and smell. And touch is absolutely crucial for their social bonds.
What about diet? Must take a lot to fuel that size.
It does. Purely herbivores. Grasses, leaves, fruit, bark, roots. They eat somewhere between 200 and 600 pounds of food every day.
Whoa, that's a lot of grazing.
It is. Their habitat varies. African savanna elephants are in grasslands, woodlands, forest elephants in dense rainforests, Asian elephants in forests, grasslands, wetlands. Their whole survival really depends on constantly moving, finding food and water.
And they rely on memory for that.
Massively. Group cooperation and incredible memory for migration routes that can span decades,
Yeah.
passed down through generations.
Wow. And their social structure, it's matriarchal, isn't it?
That's right. Herds are led by the oldest, most experienced female. Males usually leave the group when they reach adolescence.
And communication, it's not just trumpeting.
No, they use low-frequency infrasound rumbles, too low for us to hear, that can travel for miles. Great for long-distance communication. But yeah, trumpeting, touch, complex courtship rituals. Males also go through MOAT, a period of high testosterone and heightened aggression.
And these migrations you mentioned are memory-based, spanning generations.
Exactly. Seasonal movements following paths learned and remembered over decades. It's incredible.
Evolutionarily, where do they fit in?
They originated way back, maybe 60 million years ago. Close relatives are the extinct mammoths and mastodons. Their really early ancestor was this pig-sized, semi-aquatic thing called Moratherium.
Huh. Pig-sized. Quite a change. Now, the conservation status? That's the tough part, isn't it?
It really is. It's dire. The African forest elephant is critically endangered. Asian and savanna elephants are both endangered.
What are the main threats? Still poaching?
Poaching for ivory is still a massive problem, but also habitat loss, fragmentation, and increasing human-wildlife conflict as human populations expand.
Are there efforts to help? What's being done?
There are lots of efforts. Anti-poaching patrols trying to create safe habitat corridors, international ivory trade bans, sanctuaries for rescued elephants using tech like tracking collars.
Yeah.
But it's an uphill battle.
It's sobering. Such incredible animals facing such threats. Let's pivot a bit. Talk about their cultural significance. Because that's huge, right?
Oh, absolutely profound. In Hinduism, you have Ganesha, the elephant-headed god of wisdom, remover of obstacles, hugely beloved.
Right. Instantly recognizable.
In Buddhism, a white elephant is super sacred. Buddha's mother dreamt of one before his birth. Across many African cultures, they symbolize strength, patience, community, memory, wisdom.
And Thailand too, right? Royalty.
Deeply connected to royalty and spirituality in Thailand. And even in Western folklore, they tend to be seen as these noble, gentle giants.
So the symbolism is just packed. Wisdom, memory, strength, power, dignity.
Patience, fertility, royalty, sacredness. They cover so much ground.
What about spiritual roles beyond deities, like totem animal?
Yeah, definitely. As a totem animal, they often represent leadership, strong ancestral connections, emotional intelligence. In some Asian zodiac systems like Thai or Burmese, elephant years are linked to prosperity.
And omens. Seeing an elephant.
Well, white elephants are incredibly auspicious omens. Elephants appearing in dreams are often interpreted as relating to your inner strength, resilience, or maybe highlighting a major obstacle you need to face.
And practically, humans have used them for a long time, too.
Immensely. Domestication for war, logging, transport, tourism. Huge ceremonial roles in places like India, Thailand, Sri Lanka. Processions, festivals.
And ivory, sadly.
And ivory, historically, used for intricate carvings, religious items, piano keys. Most of that is banned or heavily regulated now, thankfully. But it was a major driver of decline.
Are there famous stories featuring elephants?
Loads. The parable of the blind man and the elephant from India is classic about limited perspectives. Buddhist Jataka tales often feature wise elephants. African oral traditions have elephant kings or advisors. Even Western fables sometimes contrast their size and wisdom with, say, a tiny mouse. And that human interaction, domestication goes way back. Ancient India, Southeast Asia, maybe 2000 BCE, using them for labor and war.
Less so Africa, though.
Generally less domestication in Africa, maybe more spiritual reverence or hunting. But the thing of historical warfare, Pyrrhus fighting the Romans, Hannibal crossing the Alps. Elephants were major military assets.
So economic roles were huge. War elephants, obviously.
Right, from Alexander the Great right up to the Khmer Empire. And the logging industry, especially in Myanmar and Thailand, relied heavily on elephant labor.
And the ivory trade, especially during colonial time?
Massive economic driver then, yes. And now, tourism, which can be problematic with unethical practices, but also beneficial when done right, supporting sanctuaries.
It's such a complex relationship, conflict and partnership.
Exactly. Hunting for ivory and trophies was huge in colonial eras. Now, there's ongoing conflict where elephants raid crops because their habitat is shrinking. But you also see these sacred partnerships, elephants in temples, blessing weddings. It's layered.
And we see them everywhere in historical art.
Absolutely. Ancient frescoes, coins from India, Sri Lanka, even Egypt and Greece. Roman bestiaries describe them. And Buddhist and Hindu temples are just filled with carvings, murals, idols.
Moving to more modern times, pop culture loves elephants.
Oh, definitely. So many famous ones. Dumbo, Horton the Who from Dr. Seuss, Babar, Colonel Hothy in The Jungle Book, even Emily Elephant in Peppa Pig.
Huh. Emily Elephant. They really cement that gentle, wise image, especially for kids.
They really do. And then you have logos and mascots. The Republican Party GOP elephant in the U.S.
Right. Elephant Bar Restaurant, Ivory Ella clothing brand, University of Alabama's mascot, Big Al.
Exactly. Songs like Baby Mine from Dumbo just pull at the heartstrings. Powerful movies, too. Elephant, The Elephant Man, and that recent Oscar-winning documentary, The Elephant Whisperers.
That was incredible.
Wasn't it? And online, the elephant in the room meme is everywhere. TikToks about elephant memory, plus all those viral videos. Elephants painting, mourning their dead, rescuing people, emotional reunions at sanctuaries.
They really capture our imagination. So psychologically, symbolically, what's the impact? How does this connect to Kenny?
Well, humans tend to feel huge admiration for them. Their intelligence, their empathy, that famous memory. There's deep curiosity about their emotions, their social complexity, their rituals. A lot of love for them as gentle giants.
But also maybe guilt.
Yeah, definitely guilt, too. Over poaching, unethical tourism, keeping them in zoos. It's complicated.
And the archetypes they represent.
The wise elder is a big one. That elephant in the room metaphor, the huge issue everyone avoids. Maybe the emotional elephant, representing empathy that's just too big to ignore. Or even the burden bearer, carrying weight silently.
So in dreams, mostly positive.
Often positive, yeah. Power, prosperity, loyalty, spiritual growth. But sometimes negative feeling, crushed, blocked. It usually points to inner strength, resilience, or maybe that big issue you're ignoring.
And those common sayings. An elephant never forgets.
The elephant in the room. Seeing pink elephants, strong as an elephant. They're baked into our language.
Okay, so the Kenny connection here. If a Kenny subpersonality embodies this deep, profound wisdom and an almost unwavering memory, someone who navigates really complex relationships, maybe difficult situations with a kind of quiet grace, then the elephant with its deep social bonds, its generational memory, its sheer presence, that feels like a really powerful metaphor, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. The Kenny who carries the weight of wisdom, perhaps. Or maybe the one with that uncanny recall of past events, past feelings. And remember the different types globally. African savanna, biggest, big ears, tusks in both sexes. African forest, smaller, straighter tusks, more elusive. Asian, smaller ears, only some males have tusks.
Plus the extinct ones like mammoths.
Right. And unique facts around the world.
Yeah.
Sacred in India and Thailand, part of rituals. Ceremonial honors in Sri Lanka. Botswana having the largest wild population. Still used for traditional logging in Myanmar.
And their closest relatives are surprising.
Very surprising. Manatees and dugongs, the Sirenians. And even hyraxes, those small, furry mammals. Genetically closer than you'd ever guess by looking.
Wow. That's wild. And cultures view them so differently.
Totally. The West often sees noble, wise, endangered icons. The East sees sacred power, links to gods and kings. Africa has reverence, but also fear from crop raiding. It varies a lot.
Okay, so we've had the resilient turkey, the wise elephant. What's the final animal embodying a Kenny trait?
We're going small now. To the unassuming but surprisingly tenacious sparrow.
The sparrow. Okay. From elephant to sparrow, let's get into it. Biologically.
Right, small bird. Family Passeridae. The genus Passer includes the really common house sparrow, Passer domesticus.
And they are tiny, aren't they?
Really small, like 14, 18 centimeters long, maybe 24 to 39 grams. Very compact. They've got those stout conical beaks, perfect for eating seeds.
And the males look different.
Yeah, males have quite distinct markings, black, white, brown patterns. Females are much more muted, brownish gray, usually a bit smaller too. Lifespan in the wild is typically under 10 years, though some have lived much longer in ideal conditions, like almost 20 years or more.
Any cool adaptations for being so small?
They do. Those strong beaks, obviously. But they also have an extra little bone in their tongue, the preglossal. It helps support the tongue, makes them really efficient at handling seeds.
Clever and diet. Mostly seeds.
Mostly seeds, yeah. Granivorous.
Yeah.
But they'll supplement with insects, especially when they're breeding, and need the extra protein for chicks.
And habitat. They seem to be everywhere humans are.
Exactly. They thrive in human-altered landscapes. Cities, farms, suburbs. They readily nest in buildings, little cavities, nest boxes. They'll even reuse old nests from other birds. Very adaptable.
What about behavior? I always see them in groups.
Highly social. Flocking is common. They roost together communally. They have social singing. They even take dust baths together.
Dust baths.
Yeah, helps keep their feathers clean. And breeding. Both parents pitch in. They both build the nest. The female incubates usually 4 or 5 eggs for about 12, 13 days, and then both parents feed the chicks.
Teamwork. And evolutionarily, do we know much?
Actually, yeah, quite a bit now. The house sparrow genome was sequenced recently. They think they diverged from related sparrows, like the tree sparrow, maybe 4.4 million years ago.
And they found genes linked to their success.
They did. Genes related to circadian rhythms may be helping them adapt to human schedules, immune response, oxygen transport, things that likely explain why they're so adaptable. Hybridization has played a role too, like the Italian sparrow mixing genes.
So conservation-wise,
Yeah.
they seem fine, right? They're everywhere.
Globally, yes, they're listed as least concern because they're so widespread and numerous. However,
Oh.
that's not the whole story.
Oh.
In many urban areas, populations have actually seen sharp declines. Places like Mumbai, Paris, they've reported drops of like 70, even nearly 90% in some cases.
Wow. What?
Likely a mix of factors. Habitat loss within cities, fewer green spaces, maybe changes in building design and reducing nesting spots, changes in food availability, maybe pollution. It's complex. Genomics is now being used to try and figure out how to help manage these urban losses.
That's incredible. Such a common bird, yet facing challenges and having this detailed evolutionary story. Let's get into the cultural side. What symbolism does the sparrow carry?
It's surprisingly rich. Go back to ancient Greece, they linked sparrows to Aphrodite, the goddess of love, and to fertility.
Aphrodite.
Huh. And there's an ominous Greek prophecy from the Trojan War myths involving a snake eating 9 sparrows, foretelling the 9 years of war. A bit darker.
Okay. What about elsewhere?
Scottish folklore has a nice story where sparrows helped a man build his house because he let them nest there, and they brought him good luck.
That's sweeter. So generally, what do they symbolize?
Across many cultures, you see themes of love, loyalty, friendship, hope, freedom, resilience, humility, and community. A lot packed into a small bird.
And in Christianity, there's that famous Bible verse, right?
Exactly. Matthew 10:29. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? Yet not one of them will fall to the ground outside your Father's care. It makes them this powerful emblem of divine care, that even the smallest are noticed.
That's very resonant. Any other spiritual roles?
In Chinese tradition, they can signify hope, positive changes coming, even marital bliss. In Japanese folklore, they often symbolize kindness, helpfulness, maybe messengers of joy, associated with spring and harmony.
Have they ever been used practically? Besides just being around.
Well, they were historically eaten in some parts of the Mediterranean, and often seen as agricultural pests because they eat grain. But on the flip side, they also eat insects, so they were valued for pest control too. And that interaction with humans goes way back like 10,000 years, right alongside the development of agriculture and settlements. The house sparrow essentially evolved with us, becoming commensal.
Commensal meaning living alongside us.
Yeah, benefiting from our presence, our food sources, our buildings for nesting.
But also seen as pests sometimes.
Often, yeah. Raiding crops, nesting in buildings where they weren't wanted. There have been attempts to eradicate them at times. But again, that double-edged sword, they also help by eating insect pests. And you find them mentioned in religious texts, like we said. Also in Shakespeare, in medieval bestiaries, often depicted in art. Usually as that metaphor for the small, the insignificant being cared for or uplifted by something greater.
So in media, pop culture, less as characters, more as symbols.
Exactly. They're not usually the stars like Dumbo, but they're incredibly common as literary metaphors.
Like Emily Dickinson.
Perfect example. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul, often interpreted as being like a sparrow, small, persistent, singing through the storm.
In that hymn, his eye is on the sparrow.
A classic. Captures that feeling of being watched over, even when you feel small or alone. Even Hamlet, in his final scene, references the fall of the sparrow, tying into ideas of divine providence, the worth of the humble.
And people get sparrow tattoos.
Yeah, they're quite popular. Tattoos, modern symbolism, usually representing freedom, resilience, loyalty, finding your strength even if you feel small or overlooked, sort of modest means, mighty heart. Psychologically, they definitely tap into that underdog archetype, don't they? Small, maybe overlooked, but incredibly tenacious, thriving against odds through adaptability and sticking together.
So putting it all together, the common sparrow.
Yeah.
What does it tell us about a Kenny archetype?
Well, they tend to evoke feelings of empathy, maybe innocence, a sense of community belonging, and definitely that everyday resilience, just getting on with it.
And in dreams.
Often seen as symbols of hope, new beginnings, maybe a spiritual presence is near. And we have phrases like small but mighty, right? Captures that quiet power, perseverance, and simplicity.
Okay, so if a Kenny subpersonality is about humility, hope, and that everyday resilience,
Yeah.
the kind that thrives even when overlooked, finding strength in community and simple things, then the sparrow seems like its perfect symbol. It's the Kenny who isn't the loudest or biggest, but just quietly keeps going, keeps hoping, and inspires that in others too.
Beautifully put. And remember, there are lots of different sparrow species globally in the passer genus, about 25 or so. Eurasian tree sparrow, others varying a bit in size and
Or
color.
different cultures see them differently.
Definitely. European folklore might link them to love, sometimes misfortune. Asian cultures often lean towards hope and joy. Native American traditions might emphasize humility and harmony with nature. And technically, those sparrows you see in North America, like song sparrows, they're actually New World sparrows, a different family, entirely passerellidae.
Oh, really? Not closely related.
Different lineage. Though behaviorally, yeah, they fill similar niches, seed-eating, grounds feeding, but genetically distinct from the Old World sparrows like the house sparrow.
Huh. Okay, wow. What an incredible journey we've taken today. From the turkey, its surprising resilience and depth, to the elephant, that enduring wisdom, memory, and power.
Right.
And finally, the sparrow, embodying humility, hope, and that quiet, tenacious spirit.
Yeah, quite the trio.
These deep dives, they really do show just how many layers of meaning are packed into the creatures we think we know so well. Each one, in its own unique way, kind of illuminates a different facet of what this Kenny subpersonality might represent.
Exactly. Hints at something complex, multifaceted, both surprising and maybe deeply familiar at the same time. And if you connect all this to the bigger picture, I mean, the intricate ways animals just weave themselves into our myths, our language, even our psychological frameworks, it really hammers home the profound impact the natural world has on us, on the human experience. Understanding their biology, alongside their cultural stories, their symbolism, it enriches our understanding, not just of them, but, well, of ourselves too.
Absolutely. So maybe the next time you encounter a turkey, maybe see an elephant, or even just notice a little sparrow. Perhaps you'll see not just an animal, but maybe a living metaphor, carrying centuries of stories, symbols, and maybe, just maybe, a little piece of Kenny inside it. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other everyday creatures out there might hold that kind of surprise and depth?